Hallo meine geflügelten Freunde und ein herzliches Zeittag. Willkommen zurück zu Vampyr. Wir sind in der letzten Folge ja jetzt hier zu diesem Krankenhaus gekommen, zu diesem Art Krankenhaus und auch von dem, ich glaube das ist der Oberarzt gewesen, eingestellt worden als, was war denn das, als so eine Art Chirurg. Wir müssen uns auf jeden Fall um die Bluttransfusion kümmern. So. Und jetzt sollen wir erstmal das Krankenhaus, das Pembroke Hospital betreten. Hier sitzen aber jetzt eine Schwester und der Arzt und versorgen einen kranken Patienten. Das war der Pfarrer, glaube ich. Genau, den mussten wir ja retten. So, mal gucken, was sagen sie denn? Wir sehen uns später. Ja, schön. Gut, dann müssen wir da wohl nicht durch. Haben wir hier noch irgendwo was wir gebrauchen können? Kommen wir da durch? Nein. Oh, warum? So, dann müssen wir bestimmt hier lang. Hä? Wer sagt das? Was passiert hier? Oh, was macht der denn da?
Rotten or pristine, each heart contains the seeds of life. Drink at this river, try it all.
Wir riechen das Blut. Aber müssen wir ihn aussaugen? Macht das automatisch?
Oh, come on, you bastard! I won't bite.
Sir, please. You've lost too much blood. Calm yourself.
You think I didn't notice? Stop your staring and get me to an hospital, you arse!
Oha, sei mal ein bisschen höflicher. Genau, hier, seien Sie höflicher.
Insulting a good Samaritan. Not exactly the way to get rescued.
All right, sorry. I am in pain here. My guts are spilling out onto the street and you're yabbering on.
Yes. That's a very nasty wound you've got there. Take my word, I am a doctor. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Name's Clay Cox. I'd appreciate you helping me to a better place, Doc.
Follow me, Mr. Cox. Let me assist you to that better place.
Okay, was Blutqualität deutet an, wie viele EP du von einem Bürger erhältst. Ja, auszusagen musst du sie zunächst in den Band ziehen, um sie zu einer Stelle zu führen, Bürger nicht sehen können. Aha. Ist das schon soweit?
Bring this fading light into the shadows. Dance with him the dance of life and death.
Rote Spuren? Was? Um den Opfer in die Schatten zu bringen. Ach, hier, dieser Spur. Hier lang? Oh. Oh, was wollen wir denn machen? Hat dann Konsequenzen, wenn wir ihn aussaugen? Wir können ihn aber auch einfach loslassen. Oh, was machen wir? Wir müssen aussaugen, oder? Ne, wir können auch loslassen. Oh, was machen wir? Ach komm, wir saugen ihn einfach aus. Wir brauchen die EP. Wer weiß, wahrscheinlich war das voll ein wichtiger Charakter.
In the back, you bastard! Didn't have the guts to fight me. Fuck you. I'll kill you. I'll kill you.
Wer redet denn da? Naja. Oh, hier haben wir eine Truhe. Ach, schön. 2 Federn. Bleibt der jetzt einfach da liegen? Können wir ihn nicht beseitigen? Können wir hier noch ran? Ja. Gut. Ach Quatsch, nee, das wollte ich gar nicht. Ich geh mal wieder weg. So, wir müssen hier.
Such a burden, such divine sin.
Ich wollte doch nur gucken, ob ich hier noch was vergessen habe. Nee. Ich wollte mal gucken, wie... Oh, wo war denn das hier bei den Bürgern? Wo ist denn der Typ, den wir gerade ausgesaugt haben? Nee. Der da, ne? Ja, ausgesaugt. Okay, es scheint aber so, als wäre der ein Böser gewesen. Naja, dann ist das ja nicht schlimm. Den wird keiner vermissen. So, haben wir hier noch irgendwas, was wir aufnehmen können? Nein. Gut. Ist das hier das Krankenhaus? Ob ich den Arzt später auch aussaugen kann? Guten Tag, junge Frau.
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
Ich mache erstmal ihr Leben in London. Wie ist die Lage hier?
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
Das glaube ich. Könnte das Krankenhaus
Do you think this
versagen?
hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
Ja,
An invisible
jede
enemy.
Epidemie ist schwer.
Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Ah, das glaube ich. So, dann erzähl mir was
I'm not
vom
familiar with all
Personal.
the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Komm, sprechen Sie
Nurse
schon.
Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No, I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippett. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
Aber das ist ja nicht schlimm. Also vielleicht für seinen gesundheitlichen Zustand ist es schlimm, aber an sich eigentlich nicht. Das hier. Oh, wir brauchen Hinweise. Okay.
Goodbye, nurse.
Später.
Call me if you need assistance.
Könnte ich die jetzt auch... Oh, das... Noch jemand?
Good evening, sir.
So it
Oh, das
is
ist der
true.
Doktor, ne?
The famous Dr. Reed has joined us.
Der ist echt
I
alt.
can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
Ja. So, wie ist denn Ihr Leben in London? Hm, wie ist die Lage
What is the
hier?
Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
Hm, die Belegschaft ist
It's more
wichtiger.
than enough. In any case, the personnel of a hospital are much more important to me than the building.
Don't
Genau.
be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
Oh, Hoffnung ist noch wichtiger als Personal und wie das aussieht. Erzähl mir mal
What can
was
you
vom
tell me
Personal.
about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Das ist gut. Was ist mit der
Any
Leitung?
opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong, Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office now and again.
Tell me more about
Ich sitze
cherished
die ganze Zeit
people.
im Büro.
Nurse
Oder
Brannigan
wär's
is a
auch
pearl.
draußen?
She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
War noch Zeiten, wo Frauen anscheinend keine Ärzte werden konnten, nur Schwestern.
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No, we must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more unto the breach.
Ja, aber ein bisschen ausruhen wäre ja auch nicht schlecht. Sie müssen nichts
You've nothing to
beweisen.
prove, Dr. Tippett, to anybody. And we all praise your experience. Please, have some rest.
I am perfectly fine, and I am not too old for this job.
Das hat ja gar keiner gesagt, dass sie zu
You're
alt sind.
exhausting yourself, Corcoran.
No, we must keep on healing all those poor...
You've nothing to
Ja.
prove, Doctor.
I am perfectly fine.
Ach so, ich kann gar nicht. Okay, ich kann bei solchen Sachen nur
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
eine Antwort auswählen und gar nicht dann weiterreden. Aber wir haben jetzt einen Hinweis für Sie erhalten.
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Hier bestimmt. Tippets hat sie
Why
gelobt.
does Dr. Tippett claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippett does not think of you as just a nurse anymore, does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
Goodbye,
Weiß gar nicht,
nurse.
konnte man zu der
Call me if you
Zeit
need
auch
assistance.
Ärztin werden? Also als Frau dann halt den Beruf des Arztes ausführen? Es wurde halt anscheinend von den Männern nicht angesehen, großartig. Ging das? Es gab bestimmt die ein oder andere Ärztin. So, hier liegen die ganzen Kranken. Was haben wir denn hier unten? So, okay. Dann, was haben wir hier drüben noch? Okay, wir reden mal mit der Schwester.
Doctor, where have you been? I've little time to play hide and seek with new staff members, no matter how illustrious they may be.
I apologize, nurse. I needed some time to myself. This has been the longest and strangest night of my life.
You delivered poor Mr. Hampton from a terrible fate. The means to that end should be of little concern, Doctor.
Thank you, nurse. What can I do for you?
Dr. Swansea insisted we provide you a quiet office. You'll find it on the second floor with your name on the door.
Thank you. Nurse Crane, isn't it?
Yes, Dorothy Crane. Welcome to Pembroke Hospital, Dr. Reed. Your office has been prepared.
Dankeschön. Wir haben ein eigenes Büro.
I would like to ask a few questions first.
Jetzt sieht sie schon viel netter aus. Wie geht es denn Mr.
And
Hampton?
Mr. Hampton, the patient we brought in. How does he fare?
I gave him a sedative to help him sleep. Poor thing was in quite a state of shock.
Oh, okay. So, wer ist das denn
man is
eigentlich?
Dr. Swansea?
Well, you accepted the job from him. I thought you would have known about your employer.
Naja. Genau, ich habe ihn eigentlich gerade erst
I've only
kennengelernt.
just met him the once. This is sudden. I've only just returned to England.
Dr. Swansea is a brilliant surgeon and the most compassionate physician.
Ein bisschen mehr
It's right
Infos
to
bitte.
assume Dr. Swansea knows far more about me than I do about him.
You'll get to know him soon enough, and better than me. The administrator has better things to do than mix with us.
Oh, okay, das klingt ein bisschen gemein. So, wo ist denn mein
If you
Raum?
could point me in the direction of my room again, nurse.
Second floor of the hospital, left after the stairs. It's the last vacant office at the end of the corridor.
Okay,
Thank you, Nurse Crane.
wir werden uns mit Sicherheit verlaufen. Ganz sicher. Wegen der Grippe nimmt dieses Krankenhaus keine weiteren Patienten auf. Es folgte, kehren sie wieder heim. Okay. Na gut, man kann das ja auch nicht als Zimmer betrachten. Unsere Zelte sind alle voll. So, hier waren wir. Haben wir hier noch irgendwo was rumliegen, was wir gebrauchen könnten? Oh, da unten würde es noch weitergehen. Dann gehen wir doch erstmal in unser Büro. So. Oder? Hier irgendwas versteckt? Okay, es gibt aber auch Patientenzimmer. Gut. Oh, wer sind Sie denn?
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm new here.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed. I'm Milton Hooks, the ambulance driver for this shithole of a hospital.
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reed. Perk of the job. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war and have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better gun, remember, I may have something for you.
Nett. Oh, wir können handeln mit ihm? Aha. Okay, machen wir erstmal Leben in London. Was ist
So
Ihr
what do you do
Beruf?
exactly in this hospital? Apart from smuggling guns, I mean.
I've been an ambulance driver since... too long, I guess. I bring sick people here night and day. It's a dirty job, but I get it done. Most of the time.
Wie ist die gesundheitliche
Since you're on the
Lage
front
hier?
line, how is the sanitary situation in this vicinity?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting dangerous to enter some streets or buildings. Even the locals attack you.
It sounds like things have been a bit rough recently. What's happened?
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing here. I escaped from the hospital's garden, but I lost my wallet when I was running.
You left
Oh,
an
nein.
infected patient outside the hospital. That's incredibly dangerous.
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doctor. I'd rather not bring your dead body back.
Okay. Bürgeruntersuchung ist verfügbar. Aha. Bürgeruntersuchung. Zeig mal. Milton Hooks. Verfolgen. 1000 EP würde ich dafür bekommen. Wo ist denn jetzt die... Nein, wo ist jetzt meine Bürgeruntersuchung? Wo finde ich die? Wo ist sie jetzt hin? Nee, das ist ja... Ha. Ach, hier. Okay, wir müssen dann zu dem Garten schauen und gucken, wo denn der Patient ist. Falls der noch da ist, der Patient. Das wissen wir ja nicht. Wie ist denn die Lage hier? Seiner
You want to
Sicht.
hear the situation is all right? It's fucking awful. We lack everything. And it's getting worse every day.
Der nimmt wirklich kein Blatt vorm Mund.
Are you
Gib mir mal ein
really
paar
smuggling
Waffen.
weapons through the hospital?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know. And by gang members willing to steal my money.
But you're not defending yourself. You're selling guns to civilians.
You keep people alive your own way,
Ist doch fast
Doctor.
das Gleiche
I offer
zu der
them another
Zeit.
way to protect their health.
Wir konnten... Hinweis, okay, in Handeln
I'd
wir
like
mal.
to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Was hat er denn Schönes? Schrotflinte, Patronen. Hieraus können wir dann selbst was zusammenbauen. Ich weiß aber nicht, was wir... Haben wir gar keine Waffe mehr? Oh. Ich dachte, wir hatten eine Waffe. Doch, haben wir doch. Das haben wir doch ausgerüstet. Aber ist die Frage, ob die so gut ist wie unsere. Stufe 2. Schraube. Aber ich möchte erstmal kurz gucken, was unsere Waffe sagt. Nee. Wir haben echt keine Waffe? Oh, wir haben nur einen Knüppel. 65, 99. Gut, dann haben wir da jetzt den Knüppel und die Machete. Doch, hier haben wir doch. Ist aber echt. Ob ich die vielleicht auseinandernehmen kann? Gewöhnlicher Revolver. Wie viel? Ah, ich wollte dich nicht ausrüsten. Ich glaube, wenn wir das Geld haben, holen wir uns doch hier bei ihm mal die eine Waffe.
Good evening, Doctor.
I'd like to see.
Wise choice, Doctor.
Ja, los, komm. Das hier. Können wir uns das leisten? Wo sehen wir unseren Geld? Nein, wir haben nicht genug Geld. Wir haben nur 132, brauchen aber 315. Nein. Wir können die verkaufen, bringt aber auch nur 20. Ah, okay.
Perhaps I should have considered the offer from that Cadogan fellow.
War ein Versuch wert. Hat man mit dir schon gesprochen gerade? Ich glaube schon, du warst...
Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Ah ja, du bist Dr. Tipp.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Nein.
Goodbye,
Sorry.
Dr. Tippett.
Mit dir haben wir auch
This is no
gesprochen.
time for self-pity.
Sind wir denn jetzt?
Last thing our patients need.
Da müssen wir weiter, ne? Hier ist auch nichts mehr. Sieht nicht so aus. Ah, so wenig Loot. Obwohl hier so viele Kisten rumstehen. Oh, hier ist was. Kleines Fläschchen. Schön.
Dr. Swansea is right. This place seems perfect to conduct my research.
The life running in your veins. This dead flesh needs it.
Sie sind... Kennen wir
Good
uns
evening,
schon?
nurse.
Good evening, Doctor.
Nee.
I don't think we've been introduced yet. My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
So, wieder erstmal. Wie ist Ihr Leben denn hier? Wie lange sind Sie
How
denn schon
long have you been
Krankenschwester?
a nurse?
Well, long enough to see
haben
that
Sie
the
für
epidemic is
Erfahrung?
winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
Genau, mir gefällt Ihre
I don't
Einstellung
like your
nicht.
attitude,
Immer
Nurse
positiv
Hawkins.
denken.
Pessimism can be as lethal as the epidemic in times like these.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
Wie kommt denn das
How is the
Personal
Pembroke
zurecht?
staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
Warum denn
Why
gerade
does
gegen
Milton
Ärzte?
dislike doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned, Milton is not the chatty type.
Also mit uns hat er ganz gut
Why
gequatscht.
is Milton grumpy on a daily basis? Is it just an act?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
Wie ist die
How would you
Lage
describe the
hier?
situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc amongst the staff and patients. We are running out of everything.
Nurse
Wird nicht
Hawkins,
ewig
the
dauern.
Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end, nobody was spared?
Komm.
You must get a hold of yourself, nurse.
Sorry, I'm exhausted. No one has any idea when this epidemic will be over.
Ja, aber wir kriegen das schon hin. So. Haben wir schon ein bisschen... Nein, wir können nichts Persönliches fragen.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Bleiben Sie stark. Wir kriegen die Lage in den Griff. Wär doch gelacht. Ja, Krankenschwestern werden gebraucht. Oh, wer ist denn da? Die sehen aber auch
Good
nicht gut
evening,
aus.
miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon.
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know.
Als ob die es einfach so zugibt, dass sie ein Vampir ist.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Beschreiben Sie mir mal.
Describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
Aber es klingt nicht wirklich nach einem Vampir.
Have you ever heard of Cotard's syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
Naja, wärst du ein Vampir, junge Dame, würdest du bestimmt merken, dass er in Wahrheit wirklich ein Vampir ist.
I'm
Und nicht
assuming you
nur ein
must be a
Vorgestellter
patient
wie du.
here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe them?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
The staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire.
I see. Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
Okay. So, haben wir irgendwas Persönliches. Wer sind Sie
Who are you
wirklich?
really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require? Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a vampire.
No, it's such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's minds, you see?
Okay, naja.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Okay. Mal sehen, wen wir hier noch alles treffen. So, wir müssen bestimmt da... Oh mein Gott, ist das groß. Haben wir hier irgendwo noch was? Hier? Ja. Ui. Ich habe Angst, irgendwas zu verpassen, wenn ich immer erst genau den geraden Weg gehe, den wir gehen müssen. Hier haben wir doch bestimmt irgendwo noch was. Nein, hier unten auch nicht. Na gut. Sonst kommen wir mit der Story gar nicht voran, wenn ich erstmal überall rumlaufe. So, aber das Krankenhaus müssen wir noch uns kurz ein bisschen genauer anschauen. Hier haben wir noch was. Ein langer Brief. Birmingham, 27. Oktober. Okay. Gut. Oh, hier ist ein Schlüssel. Notunterkunft. Pippa Hawkins. Neuer Hinweis. So. Achso, von hier kamen wir gerade, ne? Wer ist das? Bist du Pippa?
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Wir hatten einen neuen Hinweis für dich. So, Krankenhaus verlassen.
Pippa, are you sure you want to leave this hospital?
To become a nurse was a little girl's dream. But in the end, I don't feel that useful. I want more. I want to make things change.
Aber das können sie doch machen.
You should be proud of what you've achieved. This hospital represents hope for many people in need of help.
Maybe you're right. But at the moment, I feel like we're just a cemetery waiting room.
Ja. Das kann schon sein, aber trotzdem. Haben wir jetzt noch irgendwas anderes gehabt? Nee.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Wir brauchen jede Schwester, die es gibt. Oh, hallo. Können wir mit dir reden?
Fear and disgust.
Ja.
Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head
Was ist ihm
surgeon
denn
here.
passiert?
War injuries, am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
No.
How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work. It just hurts under the scars, if you get my drift.
Wer behandelt
Who
sie
is
denn?
treating you? Is someone in particular looking after your case?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me. Started to think I was forgotten about. Wouldn't blame you.
You don't seem worried by that.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry. I've learned it's easier not to speak. But be assured I'm smiling inside.
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect. Told you. It's like the flames are under my skin, burning away.
Tut mir leid. Wenn wir irgendwas Persönliches fragen, ja. Miss
How
Holcroft.
close are you to Miss Holcroft? Are you aware that she thinks she is a vampire?
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason to stay here. Every time she approaches my bed, she treats me like something tasty. A normal person.
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt you if the game goes too far.
She's quite harmless, I can assure you. Her head's broken inside
Das
is
haben
all,
wir schon gemerkt.
while I'm busted on the outside. But she's still beautiful. Living proof that there's hope for me.
Hier.
So do you let her bite you? You know that's not sanitary.
And why not? She's only supping a few drops of my blood. And the pain, it's real for once.
She could decide to bite less willing patients.
Then it's another good reason for me to stay here, Doctor.
You do realize she's
Aber das
mentally
kannst ja nicht
disturbed.
alles auf dich nehmen.
It's called the Cotard syndrome. She truly believes she's a vampire.
In her madness, she never refers to my scars. And frankly, if I could, I'd join her world. It seems much more fun than the real one.
Okay.
Where were you stationed, sir? Did you serve for long?
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same war, sir. No offense.
Okay. Mehr
Goodbye for
kriegen wir
now,
aus ihm
Mr.
nicht heraus.
But the suffering
Ow.
continues.
The pain. It's here again.
Oh. Wie geht's
Good
Ihnen
evening,
denn?
Mr. Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, Sora, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
Ja.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
Okay, warum hat er sie denn entführt?
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Holcroft.
Aber es ist was
You
anderes bei ihm
dared to enter
gewesen.
this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
Okay, die
What
Lage
is the
in
general
East End.
situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the Dockers trade union. The Wet Boot Boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
Hat sie die Gang
Has the gang
bedroht?
been threatening you?
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long. You know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
Ja, das
Who
stimmt.
leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
Who
Korruption.
should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
Die hatten ja auch noch nicht so viele Medikamente. Besonders nicht dagegen. So, was machen Sie denn
What do you do for a
beruflich?
living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks. And I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Okay.
Have you made friends since you arrived? Not really, but I recognize Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke? Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea
wird
is
vielleicht
well
auch
versed
zum
in blood
Vampir dann?
transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest. And then I can go back to the people who need me.
Das wär's ja jetzt, wenn er dann
Goodbye,
auch
Mr.
demnächst zum Vampir wird und
We'll
alle
talk
Leute
again
hier in der
later.
Notunterkunft im Hospital aussaugt. Können wir hier rein?
It's
Nein.
locked.
Okay, dann gehen wir jetzt aber mal
Time has
wirklich
lost
nach
its effect
oben.
on me. But the suffering
Achso, ja, immer nach oben.
continues.
Da lang. Da waren wir. Ist das egal, wo wir lang gehen? Nee, okay. Wir müssen nach links, ne? Dann gehen wir doch hier rüber. Links hat sie gesagt. Oder? Erster Stock links, letzte Zimmer. Ach doch, da wären wir durchgekommen. Okay. Warum nicht? Ich muss nach meinen Patienten sehen. Da komme
I
ich nicht
cannot
durch.
enter.
Okay. Dann hier lang. Da kommen wir nicht durch. Oh, hier können wir noch reinschauen. Was haben wir hier noch? Eine abgenutzte Säge. Irgendwas. Okay. Da kommen wir nicht rein. Da ist unser Zimmer. Bestimmt. Hier ist nichts mehr. Okay.
This must be the place. It's definitely away from prying eyes.
Ja.
Relegated to the shadows. A kingdom of my own. At least I won't be sleeping in a coffin.
So, Munition. Wir gucken uns erstmal kurz im Zimmer um. Hier können wir unsere Waffen hochmachen. Analysieren. Leichtes Regenerationsserum. Aha. Den Flock will ich nicht aufwerten. 65. Vielleicht können wir die ja aufwerten. Nee, dafür haben wir nicht genug. Schade. Haben wir auch nicht genug. Können wir irgendwas hier aufwerten? Nö. Dich? Warum können wir das nicht machen? Okay. Das auch nicht. Schade. Glasfiole, Glasfiole.
William Bishop's blood is much more unstable than human blood and shows extensive mutation. But this is not...
Artikel über Econ. Hier zu nähern, Geschwindigkeit. Okay.
What happened to me? I must keep on searching. The
Gut, dann
sun
legen wir
is
uns
about
mal
to
eben
rise.
hin.
I
Haben hier
can
noch
feel
was?
it.
Nee.
I'll continue tomorrow night. I have so much time now.
Ja, wir haben echt mehr als genug Zeit. So. Dann, was machen wir dann? Gesundheit erhöhen, Ausdauer, Blutkapazität, Blutaufnahme, erhöht den Schaden. Defensive. Dann würde ich sagen, das vielleicht einmal. Dann die Blutkapazität. Wenn wir gut sind, können wir 2 Sachen noch machen. Nee, Blutaufnahme nicht. Die Gesundheit einmal. Hatte ich sogar gleich 2-mal? Nee. Ausdauer nicht, oder? Für was haben wir denn die gebraucht, die Ausdauer? Nur zum Rennen. 3 Sera. Kugeln erhöhen. Das können wir noch gar nicht. Stufe 10 wird benötigt. Schaden bei der Landung. Schattenschleifer. Aber ich möchte diese Blutbarriere haben, wenn es geht. Das klingt interessant. Oh, wir haben nicht genug. 600 brauchen wir dafür. Okay. Wir brauchen wir hierfür auch 600. Was ist damit? 1000. Boah. Ihr wollt mich veräppeln. Das haben wir. Das können wir jetzt mit Stufe 8 aufwerten. 500. 500. Okay, dann. Wie viel brauchen wir hier? 300. So. Geht doch. Wichtige Ereignisse. den Gesundheitszustand der Bezirke. Dass sich Krankheiten unter den Bürgern ausbreiten. Okay. Ach, krass, okay. Wir können richtig dafür verantwortlich sein, dass die Bezirke ins Chaos versinken, wie es hier steht. Mhm. Okay, aber ich habe ja nur einen bisher getötet. Also es ist nicht ganz so schlimm, hoffe ich. So, da haben wir noch gar keinen Hinweis zu. 1250 EP. 3000 für die. Boah. 6000, wenn ich den aussaugen würde. Wie viel kriege ich für die? 2000. Was ist mit dem? Erschöpfung. Dyson, Delani. Heilen mit irgendwas. Okay.
If I'm to stay here until my research is complete, I'd better learn to hide my true nature from the mortals. But what about my thirst for blood?
Sieh an der Tür nach. Okay. Hier haben wir alles, ne? Ja. Okay, dann gehen wir mal zur Tür. Hier waren wir schon. Nein, da waren wir noch nicht dran, ne? Oh, was ist das denn? Eine Nachricht. Okay. Geht es Ihnen gut, junge Frau? Sie sehen nicht so aus.
Yes, Nurse Crane? How can I help you?
I'm so sorry. I know Dr. Swansea wanted you to rest, but we have somewhat of a crisis.
A crisis, you say?
Our supply of antiseptics is nearly depleted. I was hoping there was another box up here, but...
Überhaupt keine Antiseptika.
What type of hospital are you running? No antiseptics?
You have been away too long, Doctor. With the war and now this epidemic, supplies have been running scarce for months now.
I may have a solution. In France, during the war, drugs shortage was a daily problem, and we had to use our wits to overcome the shortages.
However do you mean?
If combined correctly, certain household chemical products can be used in a pinch instead. Now, where's the hospital storeroom?
The storeroom? Fat chance. This is the Pembroke, and space is luxury we don't have. Everything used to be stored in the old morgue.
Perhaps I should look there first. Where is this morgue?
It's the large building behind the hospital. You'll need to go in the back door because it's been sealed off for sanitary reasons. Take this key. It opens a small back entrance at the end of a narrow street.
The abandoned morgue behind the hospital. A small door at the end of a narrow street. On my way then. Thank you, nurse.
Okay, dann machen wir uns jetzt auf den Weg zur Leichenhalle. Betritt den Garten im Hinterhof. Okay, wir gehen jetzt erstmal runter. Da war die Treppe. So, erstmal runter. Wo ging es jetzt hier raus? Hier. Einmal zum Hinterhof, bitte. Hier?
I cannot enter. Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody.
Oh. Hallo. Oh, komm schon. Ach, komm schon. Stirb. Boah, bist ein Zombie oder was? Was machen denn Zombies hier? Bleistab. Da drüben waren doch noch welche. Oh, geh weg. Oh, ich bin gleich tot, oder? Nein, 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 lass mich los. Kann ich die nicht aussaugen? Komm schon. Boah, okay. Hört es sich wieder auf? Okay, Gott sei Dank. Was ist hier? Milton und Pippa für immer. Ach.
So, Mr. Hooks and Nurse Hawkins are an item. Those two have hidden their affections well.
Aha. Die zwei also, ja. So. Was haben wir denn hier noch? Ist überhaupt irgendwas? Hier ist die Leichenhalle. So, was haben wir hier denn Schönes? Glasfiole. Sonst nichts. Oh Gott. Haben hier irgendwo Feinde? Wir gehen da erstmal nicht raus. Oh mein Gott, ich verlaufe mich hier. Wo müssen wir hin? Da komme ich nicht runter. Schade. Was haben wir denn hier? Dass wir hier nichts nehmen können. Doch ein bisschen Geld. Schön. Gehen wir mal hoch. Oh. Sag doch, hier sind Feinde. Ich habe keine Patronen mehr. Ah, das wollte ich nicht. Oh, dieser Knüppel ist doof. Und ich bin fast tot. Ich wollte mich gerade auf... Oh, komm schon. Ich wollte mich gerade heilen. Warum geht das nicht?
Behavior is similar to the infected William Bishop. Must be the same strain. This sickness moves faster than influenza.
Ich möchte meine Waffe wechseln. Die ist ja echt doof. Gib mir mal die hier. Die ist auch nicht wirklich gut. Können wir da... Wir haben ja keine Munition mehr. So, was haben wir hier? Haben wir den nicht untersucht gerade? Anscheinend nicht. So. Komme ich hier irgendwo noch rein? Nee, alles verschlossen. Oh, noch mehr Geld. Money, money. Was haben wir denn hier noch Schönes?
This key will surely grant me access to the basement.
In den Keller. Ich möchte nicht in den Keller. Oh, woher? Wo kommst du denn her? Okay. Hast du irgendwas für mich? Nee? Wo kam der denn jetzt her? Von oben? Oh, hier ist noch mehr.
Balls of Mars, fortifiers. As popular as they are ineffective. But they do contain iron tartrate, and that might prove itself useful.
Okay. Dann gehen wir doch erstmal nach oben, wenn wir da hochkommen. Oh, hier ist noch jemand. Da kommen wir nicht weiter. Hier geht's auch nicht weiter. Na gut. Naja, hier geht's nicht weiter. Dann runter. Oh mein Gott, da hat mich erschreckt. Wer war das? Wo ist er hin? Wo ist das Vieh hin? Oh, da ist noch was drin. Wo ist das Ding jetzt hin? Oh, nicht im Keller, oder? Bestimmt im Keller. Oh, oh nee, hier sind zwei. Hallo.
These skulls feed from corpses and the husks of animals. They're after
Komm mal
blood.
schnell weg hier. Erster erledigt. Hier. Hab ich's aufgenommen? Ja. Patronen. Patronen sind immer gut. Hier noch was? Nee. Hier kommt doch gleich. Da ist der eine. Ist nur einer? Ich hoffe es. Komm schon. Stirb. Nee, da kommt noch einer. Oh. Ich kann die gar nicht aussaugen, weil die kein Blut haben, oder? Das ist auch sowas wie Vampire sind. Irgendwelche missratenen Vampire. Ach, komm schon. Danke. Ist hier irgendwas? Wir warten mal kurz. Nicht, dass ich wieder in den nächsten Gegner reinrenne. Okay. Ist hier jemand? Da ist eine Tür. Hier gibt's nichts. Gut, dann geht's weiter. Amputationsmesser. Oh. Wir können damit Blut
Mr. Connor's injuries
uns
don't matter.
aneignen. Ja, nee, geh weg. Ich möchte die Waffe haben. Amputationsmesser. Aha. Gib mir mal das hier.
The report. I'd better look into this.
Ja. Okay.
It's locked, all right.
So, und dann hätte ich aber gern... Wie konnte ich denn das andere... Ach so, so kann ich es dann ausrüsten. Gut. Von wo kommen wir denn jetzt? Von da, ne? Ja, gut. Dann ist das ja egal, durch welche Tür wir gehen. So, haben wir hier noch irgendwo was Schönes? Oh, ein Gegner. Gib mal her. Ja. Oh. Geh weg. Oh. Du kleines Mistvieh. Boah. Gehen wir mal weiter. Nicht von hier kamen wir ja auch. Okay. Dann gehen wir wieder hierhin zurück und dadurch. Na? Gegner? Ach nee. Hier kommt bestimmt wieder ein Gegner. Die Frage, von welcher Seite? Oder auch nicht? Ach so, auch nicht. Hier aber, oder? Ja. John Doe. Oha! Du kannst dich also hier... Geh weg! Was bist du denn für ein Vieh? Ich treffe den auch gar nicht, wenn der da... Ach, komm schon. Komm schon. Komm schon, komm schon. Wir brauchen ein bisschen Blut. Wo ist er hin? Oh, komm schon. Gib mir. Nein, nicht sterben. Nicht sterben, nicht sterben. Ich hatte doch irgendwas, was ich nehmen konnte. Was war denn das? Wo ist denn das Zeug? Nee. Das hier? Nee. Hatte ich nicht irgendwas, was ich nehmen konnte, damit ich mich regenerieren kann? Nee. Hergestellt. Haben wir gar nichts. Mir war so, als hätten wir irgendwas hergestellt, was wir dann nehmen können. Das klang jedenfalls so. Scheinbar nicht. Okay. Wir werden sterben. Ach, komm schon. Gib mir Blut. Nein, wir sind tot. Okay, gib mir kein Blut. Hey, wir sind das erste Mal gestorben. Ah. Was sind wir denn jetzt? Och nö. Wir müssen die alle nochmal besiegen. Habe ich denn die Waffe? Ja, habe ich. Komm schon, stirb. Ach, das sind zwei. Komm schon. Ich habe keine Ausdauer mehr. Ach, komm schon. Weg, 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 weg. Stirb. Muss ich jetzt alles nochmal von vorne sammeln? Da ist noch ein Typi. Hier, oh, verdammt. Na komm, sammel das ein. Wir müssen doch nicht alles von vorn sammeln. Wir haben ja auch das, wie heißt die Waffe? Hier, das da. Das Amputationsmesser.
It's
ist immer noch
locked.
zu. Achso, wir können uns den angucken.
Traces of a pinkish foam at the corner of the lips. Some sort of drug overdose, perhaps? Multiple abrasions and scarring on the arms and legs. Old and distinctive injuries of a sailor or a fisherman. The chest was originally opened to perform the operation. The sutures are clean, but the chest has been reopened. A puncture over the left lung, possibly a chest tube insertion. Not the cleanest work, but I think it was successful. Signs of internal bleeding. So, Dr. Tippett's anesthetics were incorrectly dosed, causing the patient's death. And then he tried to operate on him again. Tippett has made an egregious error. It's time we talked.
Okay, gut, dass wir gestorben sind und das nochmal sehen konnten. Das habe ich ja voll übersehen. Mann, ich hätte die Ausdauer aufleveln sollen. Wo ist er? Wo ist er? Wo ist er? Oh, tot. Haben wir hier noch irgendwo was? Wo mussten wir jetzt lang? Weiter geradeaus? Dadurch? Hier, ne? Ja, da kommt er. Lauf ein bisschen, lauf. Wo ist er hin? Komm, Blut. Gib mir Blut. Lauf. Komm schon, ich brauche ein bisschen Blut von dir. Ah, geh weg. Großes Vieh. Nur ein bisschen noch. Wo ist er? Ah, da ist der Schatten. Oh. Komm schon, der ist gleich tot. Aber ich darf nicht zuerst sterben.
These scowls can be so ferocious.
Oh, ich hab's
I'm not
geschafft.
sure I can defeat them without becoming stronger. To drink blood is so tempting. Sodium hypochlorite. Dangerous to administer, but efficient in the proper dosage.
Also ich bin eigentlich gezwungen, die Leute auszusaugen, weil ich brauche ja die EP, um dann die ganzen starken Gegner zu besiegen. Ah, das ist fies. Aber wenn ich die alle aussauge, dann stürze ich die Bezirke ins Chaos. Und mache alles kaputt. Wie fies. Okay, hier komme ich nicht durch. Hier komme ich auch nicht durch. Okay. Dann müssen wir jetzt erstmal wieder zurück. Ich hoffe, jetzt kommen keine neuen Gegner. Der rennt aber auch lustig. Oh, da ist ein neuer. So viel dazu. Hast du was für mich? Jo. Oh, ist da was? Nee, das war nur die Reflexion. Gut, dann müssen wir wieder raus. Wir holen uns mal ein bisschen Blut. Blut wollte ich mir holen. Nee. Nee. Oh nein, ich habe nicht aufgepasst. Oh. Okay. Ich habe ja schon alles. Also ich kann jetzt auch einfach gehen. Welche Waffen habe ich denn ausgerüstet? Die. Dann gehen wir mal lieber hier rauf. Nee, wo muss ich denn hin? Wo ist der Ausgang? Geh weg, geh weg, geh weg, geh weg. Oh. Du. Wieso können die mich aussaugen? Gib mir das. Das auch. Und das auch. Und jetzt möchte ich gern hier raus. Wo ist der Ausgang? Hier irgendwo? Das sieht gut aus. Okay. War hier irgendwas? Nee. So, wo muss ich denn jetzt hin? Komme ich da rein? Nee. Hier irgendwo? Ja, hier weiter.
Thelma Howcroft said she was being watched by vampire hunters.
Ups, was haben wir
Where
hier?
are they hiding?
Achso, das ist wieder das mit den
I
Schwestern.
should investigate.
So,
Good evening,
Doktor.
Doctor. I believe we're going to be working together.
Ach, wir kennen uns noch gar nicht.
Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune. Such an honor, sir.
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
Haben wir noch jemanden kennengelernt.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
Warum sind Sie
What made
Arzt
you
geworden?
choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
Ich
It's
helfe Ihnen
always
doch
a
gern.
pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
Das kann gut sein.
What can you
Pembroke
tell me
Hotel.
about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea, but with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time.
Genau, wir helfen doch gern. So, haben wir irgendwas Persönliches schon? Oh,
Tell me more
Bluttransfusionsmethode.
about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him? Or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
Tell me Mr.
Erzähl mal.
Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Ackroyd's behavior, a man who did not even take time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes, and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones, and flesh.
Das stimmt. Okay.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Bye bye. Wer schreit denn da so rum?
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe
Jetzt
we're
lerne
going
ich
to be
abends noch ein paar neue
Reed?
Kollegen
Yes,
kennen.
I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. Welcome
Das wird eine
aboard, I
Folge
suppose.
voller
Does my
Quatschen
arrival
und Fragen
inconvenience
stellen
you in some way,
und
Dr.
neuen
Ackroyd?
Leuten
Let us
treffen.
just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swans's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
Na, bleib mal ganz uncool. Wer sagt, woher willst du denn wissen, dass wir ein Fuscher sind?
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
Kein Grund
There is no
für
need for
deren
such animosity
Anfeindungen.
between us. Don't you think the epidemic is already enough to deal with?
That is one point we could agree on. And that is precisely why I want to be sure that you will be of help to this hospital instead of a burden.
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansea, but over time his enthusiasm has become displaced.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
Ja, man muss halt nur mal ein bisschen
Tell me,
experimentieren,
Waverly,
um ein
what
gutes
do you
Mittel
think
zu
of Dr.
finden.
Strickland's enthusiasm for his experimental research?
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives for pride and glory. Now that, sir, is unethical.
Are you thinking about something in particular?
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery. I believe we should stick to the usual procedure, but my young colleague obviously disagrees.
Why do you wish to lead this surgery?
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
If you are going to lead this surgery, I'm trusting you to assume the consequences of your actions, whatever the result.
I'm not the kind of man who runs away from his responsibilities, Dr. Reed. There is no need for you to be looking over my shoulder.
Na, dann ist ja gut.
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding you?
Rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will never be childish enough to let my personal feelings affect my judgment.
Ich mag den Typen nicht.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
Das haben wir nicht. Ich habe viele Leben gerettet. Wichtigste Waffe. Ja, nee, das nicht. Wissen ist unsere wichtigste
Knowledge has
Waffe.
always been and will remain our main weapon. And it has always come at a price. And personal initiative.
It is not a question of initiative. It is a question of integrity. These men and women have put their faith in us, Dr. Reed.
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd.
Also schon zwei Sachen, in denen wir übereinstimmen.
Thank you for your time.
Naja,
We'll
gut.
talk later.
Das kann ja nicht jeder uns mögen. So. Wir kennen uns aber schon, ne? Ja, genau. Du bist die Dame mit den merkwürdigen Mundwinkeln.
Good evening,
Dich
sir.
kenne ich aber nicht.
I'm Dr. Reed.
Von
May
dem
I
haben wir
help
nur
you?
gerade,
I
glaube
don't
ich,
know if a
gehört.
third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reed.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable. And your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies. Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Ackroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
Das ist nicht gut, wenn man sich als Arzt um den Patienten streitet.
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick. Unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
Er kann doch nichts dafür, dass die Frau gestorben ist, in den Bombenhagel reinkam.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army. Building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
How are your children after losing their mother?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
Ja. Ach Gott.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Sind Sie der andere Doktor, der sich mit dem Typen
Good evening,
streitet, der uns
Dr.
nicht mag?
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
Nee, wir hatten uns gerade schon besprochen. Naja, hier ist nichts weiter. Doch, hier ist was.
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's aversion to modern medical methods?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring uncharted territory. I'm convinced that's true.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think? Why is it so difficult to work together?
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy and pride?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
Okay. 3 Hinweise brauchen wir noch.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Bye bye. Lässt du uns da durch?
You always knew the words to
Ja,
calm me, Sean.
danke.
As for me, what a blundering idiot.
Unvollendeter Brief. Oh, das ist von dem Herrn hier. Harvey Fiddick, genau. Oh, haben wir einen neuen Hinweis jetzt? Moment. Wir müssen noch mal kurz mit ihm reden.
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
Nee, leider noch nicht, aber haben wir irgendwo was? Hier.
You seem worried about the safety of your family. And it's obviously the reason why your wound troubles you so much.
I cannot give up on my children now. They both need me living.
What about their mother, if I may ask?
She died in 1915 during one of the first Zeppelin raids. We never found her body.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
You always knew the words to calm
Also
me,
manchmal
Sean.
geben die Dialoge auch nicht ganz so viel Sinn. Die wiederholen einfach manche Sachen, wie gerade mit dem Tod der Frau. Das hat er uns schon erzählt und trotzdem haben wir ihn gerade gefragt, was mit der Frau ist. Oh. Wir rauben die einfach mal aus. Okay. Dich kennen wir auch noch nicht. So, guten Tag.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague? Are you a doctor too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean, you used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
Können wir wieder handeln.
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so many corpses?
Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof. No soul anymore. All gone.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have a respect, for dead flesh.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
How did you get this job?
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
Arbeiten Sie hier
Do you work
allein?
here alone? Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Why do you have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
Oh. Das hättest du nicht fragen sollen.
A pawnbroker? I expect you get all types of people here.
Yes, sir.
Ja, immer unsere Schwester umgebracht.
For I sell all kind of goods.
Was für Waren verkaufst du denn?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things. So I trade, I exchange. Some people sell, some others buy. I like to help.
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread. For the customers, for the hospital.
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doctor, remember? And all my clients are good people. In fact, I think I only know good people.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No. I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life, and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
So you're ready to die?
No, I am not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a wise man, Mr. Chadana.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man. But I like to think otherwise.
Do you really believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be helpful, sir.
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is, we'll all die before losing our humanity, sir.
Naja, manche sterben auch erst danach. So, was hast du denn so im Angebot?
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful.
Eisen... Tartrat? Was? Stärkungsmitteln. Ich weiß nicht, ob ich da irgendwas brauche. Das vielleicht. Erstmal. So, hier haben wir eigentlich nichts zum Verkaufen. So. Ja, lass mich durch. Lass mich durch. Ach, verdammt.
I'm sorry you
It's
ended up
locked, all right.
Menno.
I understand you. Very angry about this unfair
Okay, wir gehen jetzt einmal zu dem Dingsy da hinten. Wir lassen uns erstmal da was abliefern. Bedenklich. Oh. Nee. Bring die Geldbörse. Ach so. Wo waren jetzt meine Quests? Ja, ich wollte doch nur die Geldbörse zurückbringen. Na gut, dann gehen wir doch nicht dorthin. Erstmal. Nee, ich wollte da nicht hin. Zurück. Zurück mit dir. Wir wollten hier hinten hin. Hier rein. Wo war's denn? Wo müssen wir hin? 16 Meter nicht. Ich glaube, wir müssen raus. Kann ich hier ran? Hä? 14 Meter? Nee, ist doch da drin. Dir kann ich das nicht geben, das Foto, ne?
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Ich habe ihre Geldbörse
I have
gefunden.
some
Doch,
good
geht doch.
news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet with all the money and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin color that bothers you?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please, take this money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reed.
Ja.
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit. Tired of all those corpses piling up. She's as depressed as I am.
During the war, I witnessed a few couples just like you come together in difficult circumstances. It can be very damaging.
Maybe you're right. But we support each other. And that's all that matters.
Warum sollen
You
die
do realize
gefeuert
you could both
werden?
get fired. Hospital staff are not meant to have intimate relationships with one another.
Ach,
Come on,
mein
Dr.
Gott.
Reed. Do you know how many rules are broken in this hospital every day just to keep it running? There's nothing wrong with what we're doing.
Genau.
Do you know that Nurse Hawkins is thinking of leaving the hospital?
That's not a surprise. We've talked about it already.
Does it not bother you?
Sometimes I think she may be right. We should run away while we can. Question is, where can we go? Where is it safe?
Na, gute Frage.
Goodbye, Milton.
Okay, dann haben wir die Geldbörse zurückgebracht.
Another night with the glorious Big Sally.
Und wir können ja dann schon mal eine neue... Nehmen wir... Nee. Moment. Hier. Da. Das wollte ich. Erstmal gehen wir jetzt hier wieder rein. So. Muss ich bestimmt nach oben, ne? Aber hier kann ich es nicht herstellen, oder?
But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the
Yes,
Muss ich mit
Doctor?
dir reden?
Why then do you always work the nights? Don't you ever sleep?
At the Pembroke, we're always hands on deck.
Lack of sleep and the medical profession always ends in disaster. I've witnessed many a colleague succumb to stimulants to fight exhaustion. Drugs were as deadly as bullets in the trenches.
London's trenches start here at Pembroke Hospital. We are on the front line, make no mistake.
Ja, schon, aber
Your
mal ein bisschen
dedication to the
schlafen
Pembroke
wäre
does you
schon gut.
credit, Nurse Crane, but when do you sleep?
We staff get our sleep when we can, Doctor. Nursing is a vocation, not the labor of a journeyman.
Exactly how bad is the supply situation here at Pembroke?
It really depends. Dr. Swansea deftly works his society contacts for monies, but with the quarantine, well, we're in God's hands.
That's all for now, Nurse Crane, thank you.
Don't waste your time with me. Like a book. I never could keep anything from her.
Oh, wir kennen uns auch noch nicht, oder?
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I help at all?
No,
Really? Why are you here then?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone taking care of you?
Yes. And no.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer. Mortimer Goswick.
Na toll.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
Dann sprich doch nicht.
I'll let you get some rest then.
Good evening, sir.
Genau.
Doctor.
Wer sind Sie?
Good evening, madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
Aber er möchte nicht mit mir reden.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace. I can cover any needed medical expenses.
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived. But we had no other choice, considering the state of emergency.
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
Nee, die sind einfach nur alle überfordert. Und wenn da jemand kommt
Tell
wie
me
du, so
more about
hochnäsig,
your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital.
nur weil der
What
Mann ein
gave you
bisschen
such a
Geld in der
bad
Hand
first
hat.
impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
Naja.
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
Naja, aber es ist eine
Goodbye,
Notlage.
Mrs. Goswick.
Okay, wir stellen jetzt erstmal das Medikament her.
Good evening, sir.
Sind wir jetzt richtig hochgelaufen? Ich bin mir nicht sicher. Ja, oder? sieht gut aus. Hier. Analysieren. Analysieren. Das sollen wir herstellen. Was sollten wir herstellen? Ich weiß es nicht mehr. Stelle. Ach so, das war schon das. Oh, okay. Dann bringen wir das noch schnell runter. So. Bürgersuche. Verstecken.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Nee, ich wollte
Goodbye,
jetzt eigentlich
Nurse
nicht mit ihr reden. Was ist das denn? War bei dir? Gesund. Wenn ich hier auf... Was passiert, wenn ich auf T drücke? Bleib mal stehen. Bleib stehen. Was bedeutet dieses T? Ach so. Ah. Das sind unbekannte Leute. Wo muss ich denn hin? Dorothy Crane. Wo ist sie denn? Wo ist sie denn? Wo ist sie denn? Die kennen wir alle schon. Oh, da ist jemand Unbekanntes. Wer ist das? Sollten die mal wieder raus. Mit dem kann ich nicht reden, okay. Wie komme ich denn jetzt zu der Dame? Weiter, weiter, weiter. Hier vielleicht. Da.
Finally, you've
Das
returned,
Haus ist
Doctor.
einfach viel zu groß.
Did you find anything of value?
Yes, Nurse.
You've worked your first miracle, Doctor. Now, this patient here needs immediate treatment.
Duty calls. When the storm has passed, I'll show you how to mix the remedy yourself with the same basic ingredients.
Many thanks, Doctor. When you've finished, you ought to report to Dr. Swansea in his office. He's been looking for you. Seemed pressing.
Mhm. Krankheiten reduzieren. Okay. Ach so, mit ihm jetzt, ne?
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
Nee. Dr. Swansea.
But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit
Good
of the
evening,
doubt.
Mr. Goswick.
I'm okay.
Why did your mother have you hospitalized here? She seems convinced this is a bad hospital.
My mother just wants the best for me. She won't rest while I'm here. She'd go all the way to hell and back to help me.
Pembroke Hospital may look unorthodox, but rest assured you're in good hands here.
It's not me you have to convince, Dr. Reed. It's my mother.
Is your mother bothering you? As your doctor, I can ask her to leave you alone if you would prefer.
That's tempting, Doctor. But you have no idea what my mother is capable of. She would tie herself to my bed if you asked her to leave.
Okay.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his patient have to communicate, sir.
Genau,
Would it
ich muss
help if I
irgendwie
gave you some
wissen,
paper and a pen?
wie ich ihm helfen kann.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just the consequence of something more hurtful.
Yes, maybe. But I don't want to talk or even write about it now.
Oh, okay. Das klingt nicht gut.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Goswick.
I don't want to talk, Doctor.
Na gut.
I
Okay,
have
dann
to
haben
go
wir
now,
erstmal
sir.
nichts.
But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
Na gut, dann müssten wir jetzt zu dem Dr. Swan ziehen. Aber wir haben jetzt so viele Leute hier kennengelernt in der Folge. Dann würde ich sagen, gehen wir in der nächsten Folge zu dem Doktor und schauen mal, was er von uns möchte. Die Überschrift verrät ja schon, dass wir einen Verräter bei uns haben könnten. Da bin ich gespannt. Ich hoffe, ihr auch. Ich bedanke mich bei euch fürs Einschalten, meine Lieben. Hoffe, euch hat es gefallen. Und dann sehen wir uns beim nächsten Mal. Tschüss, meine Lieben.